Greetings, my dear viewer. This is a channel about marital infidelity and about the consequences if one spouse starts to cheat on the other. If you, as well as I do, support true family values and condemn cheating, then subscribe to the channel and give this video a like. Let's get started. When everything starts to unravel, it's never all at once. It's the quiet signs, the faint shifts, that wear you down, piece by piece. That evening, I found myself waiting for Madison. She'd gone out with friends, telling me she needed some space. But as the minutes stretched into hours, and the clock ticked past midnight, the patience I had left started to evaporate. When the door finally creaked open, and she stumbled inside, I felt an icy knot form in my stomach. Her hair was a tangled mess, as if a storm had twisted through it. Her clothes hung off her body, frayed and disheveled, but it wasn't just the state of her appearance that hit me. It was the dampness on her thighs, a faint, undeniable moisture that made my heart drop. I stood frozen, unable to move. A foreign cologne clung to her, sharp and intrusive. It wasn't hers. It wasn't mine. It belonged to someone else. Without saying a word, I helped her to bed and got her cleaned up. "What happened, Madison?" My voice was strained, trying to hold on to calm, even though everything inside me was shaking. I needed an answer, but her eyes, glassy and unfocused, refused to meet mine. Through the haze of alcohol, she mumbled, her words slow and slurred. "It didn't mean anything, just once. I'm sorry." The words hit me like a physical blow, sharper than anything I'd ever felt. Sorry for what? I wanted to scream it, demand the truth right there, but I couldn't. Not in that moment, not with her in that state. Swallowing the lump in my throat, I tucked her into bed and left the room. I still clung to the faint hope that it wasn't as bad as it seemed. But deep down, my instincts whispered the truth, that something unforgivable had happened. The next morning, once the fog of alcohol had worn off, I knew I had to get answers, even though a part of me dreaded what I might find. The morning light was unforgiving. Madison woke with a groan, clutching her head, trying to piece together the hazy remnants of the night before. I sat in the kitchen, unable to shake the images from my mind. Sleep had been impossible. My thoughts kept looping, the slurred confessions, the unfamiliar scent, the way she looked. I needed the truth, and it was time to face it. She shuffled into the kitchen, still wearing the wrinkled clothes from the night before. Her eyes were red, worn out. Her gaze flickered over the table, where I'd laid out the evidence, photos I'd taken the night before. A close-up of the stains on her dress, a faint handprint near her waist. They spoke louder than words ever could. I hadn't taken the photos to hurt her, but to capture what my mind couldn't yet fully process. "Do you remember what you did last night?" I asked, my voice quivering with something deeper than anger, a hollow ache I could barely name. Her face crumpled, the weight of guilt settling over her. She didn't need to ask for clarification. She knew what she had done. Madison broke down, sobbing, her body shaking. "I'm sorry," she choked out, her voice thick with regret. "I didn't mean for it to happen. It was a mistake." "A mistake?" I echoed, the words tasting bitter in my mouth. "You don't just stumble into something like this. You made a choice. You went to that bar, got drunk, and let another man into your life." She tried to explain, to justify it, blaming the alcohol, the moment, the circumstances. But her tears didn't move me anymore. They felt hollow, just like her excuses. That's when it hit me. She wasn't apologizing to me. She was trying to soothe her own guilt, and that stung more than anything else. She couldn't grasp the damage she'd done, not just to our relationship, but to everything we'd built together. I couldn't listen to any more of her words. Standing up, I locked eyes with her and said, "I need some air." Then I walked out, leaving her alone with the mess she'd made. Betrayal doesn't fade. It lingers in every thought, in every question left unanswered. I tried, truly, to silence the doubts, but they gnawed at me. Who was he? Why her? And how long had it been going on? Her confession, slurred and disjointed, was my starting point. Among her scattered words, one name rose to the surface. Nolan. That was enough. A quick search on social media led me to him. Nolan fit every cliché. a polished, charismatic guy with an effortless charm, the kind who could talk his way into or out of anything. But what unsettled me more was the realization that he and Madison knew each other. She followed him, and he followed her back. This wasn't some random stranger. They had a connection. I dug deeper and uncovered something more unsettling. Nolan was married. He had kids. His social media was full of family vacations, birthday parties, and cozy mornings. He had it all, or at least he appeared to. Then again, so did I. Once. I needed to understand the extent of their relationship. Madison's phone was my next target. Late at night, when she was asleep, I unlocked it. That's when I found the messages. They weren't long, but they were damning. Nolan knew Madison would be at the bar that night. The exchange wasn't extensive, but it didn't need to be. It was enough to show me the truth. This wasn't a random encounter. It had been planned. I could barely hold the phone as I read their messages. This wasn't a mistake, a one-time slip. They both knew exactly what they were doing. That night, I made a choice. Nolan's wife deserved the truth. She needed to know who her husband really was. And once I confronted him, I would turn to Madison. The divorce papers were already in motion, but I needed closure before I could let go completely. I had the name. I had the evidence. And I had a plan. This wasn't about revenge. It was about justice. If my marriage was falling apart, his wouldn't stay intact. I struggled with the decision of whether or not I should reach out to his wife, Aurora, but in the end, I couldn't shake the feeling that she deserved to know. I carefully crafted a message, choosing my words with precision, and sent it. She replied within hours. We arranged to meet at a quiet cafe downtown, somewhere neutral where emotions could stay in check. When I arrived, Aurora was already there. She sat alone at a small table, her dark hair pulled back, dressed simply, her demeanor a mixture of nervousness and polite curiosity. She smiled faintly, her eyes brightening when she mentioned Nolan. It made what I had to say all the more difficult. I didn't try to soften the blow. Your husband had an affair with my wife, I said, keeping my voice steady. Her smile faded instantly, replaced by shock. Her hands trembled as she set down her coffee, the weight of my words settling between us. For a fleeting second, she remained silent, her gaze fixed on me with an intensity that suggested she was struggling to comprehend the truth I had just laid bare. Slowly, I reached into my bag, retrieving the evidence I had painstakingly gathered, screenshots of their conversations, photos from that evening, and even a hidden recording where my wife candidly mentioned his name. I let her absorb each piece, giving her space to feel the weight of the truth. As she examined the photos and listened to the recording, I watched the color drain from her face. Tears brimmed in her eyes, though she fought valiantly to keep them from falling. She wasn't ready to break. She sat motionless, her lips quivering as she grappled with the harsh reality before her. At last, she found her voice, trembling yet resolute. "Thank you for telling me," she whispered. I gave a slight nod, rising from my seat. There was nothing more to discuss. As I stepped out of the coffee shop, a storm of emotions surged within me. Fury, a strange sense of relief, even an undercurrent of guilt. Whatever unfolded between Nolan and Aurora was no longer my burden. My focus had shifted to reclaiming my life, severing ties with Madison, and leaving behind the remnants of what we once shared. Returning home felt like stepping into a stranger's house. The warmth that had once filled the space was gone, replaced by a cold emptiness. Madison was a shadow of the person I had known, crushed under the weight of her own guilt. It showed in her eyes, in the slump of her shoulders. She made desperate attempts to mend the fractures she had caused. In the beginning, there were endless tears. She pleaded with me to listen, to let her explain, to give us another chance. "I'll do anything," she vowed. "Counseling, therapy, whatever it takes." But every time I met her gaze, all I could see was the betrayal etched into my memory. She left me notes, small scraps of paper hidden in my coat pockets, tucked beneath my pillow. "I love you. I swear I'll never hurt you again. Please don't give up on us." At first I read them, but eventually I stopped. She began cooking my favorite meals, hoping to win me back with the comfort of familiar flavors. Yet, no matter her efforts, I couldn't sit across from her at the table and pretend everything was normal, because it wasn't. Part of me yearned to believe her, to find it in my heart to forgive, to salvage the life we had built. But the image of her with someone else was a poison I couldn't purge. The trust and respect that had been the foundation of our relationship were gone. One night, she confronted me in the living room. Her face was swollen from crying, her voice hoarse with desperation. "Please, Ryan," she choked out. "I love you. I'll do anything to make this right." For the first time in days, I truly looked at her. "I don't think you can," I replied, my voice low but steady. My words hit her like a physical blow. She collapsed to the floor, sobbing uncontrollably, clutching her chest as though trying to hold herself together. Perhaps, in that moment, she felt a fraction of the agony she had inflicted on me. The days that followed were drowned in silence. No more fights, no more raised voices, just the oppressive quiet, thick with the remnants of what had been lost. I had hoped, however faintly, that the silence might bring clarity, that it might offer a path to healing. But deep down, I already knew the answer. Some fractures are beyond repair. In that quiet, I began preparing for the inevitable. I sorted through our finances, organized important documents, and started piecing together a future without her. I reflected on our memories, the good, the bad, wondering if any of it was enough to hold on to. One morning I found her in the living room, her stare locked on the floor as if searching for answers buried in the carpet. When she noticed me, her red-rimmed eyes met mine, her face drawn with exhaustion and despair. I held the divorce papers, pausing briefly. It wasn't hesitation about the decision, but the gravity of finality that gave me pause. "You made your choice that night," I said, my voice firm and clear. "This is mine." I placed the papers on the coffee table. She stiffened, her trembling hands reaching for them. "Ryan, no, please," she whispered, her voice cracking. "We can fix this." "I'll do whatever it takes," she cried, falling to her knees, gripping my hand with a desperate strength. Her sobs filled the room, raw and piercing. "Don't do this. Please, don't throw us away." But the truth was, she had already done that. With one selfish decision, she had destroyed the trust we had spent years building. And without trust, what was left? Gently, I pulled my hand free, my resolve intact. "I can't," I said quietly, shaking my head. "I've tried, Mad. I've thought it over from every angle," I continued. "But I can't see us the same way anymore." My voice held no anger. It didn't need to. The finality was clear enough. I turned and walked away, leaving her crumpled on the floor, her sobs echoing behind me. A complex wave of emotions surged through me. Grief, yes, but also an unexpected sense of relief. For the first time in days, I could breathe. It wasn't the ending I had wanted, but it was the one I needed. Some decisions carve scars too deep to fade, and hers was one of them. It's strange how the end of something you thought would last forever can leave you feeling hollow. But that was my reality. I walked away from that marriage a free man, though freedom wasn't what I had envisioned. For weeks, I couldn't bring myself to enter our bedroom. Her scent lingered, tied to memories I wanted to forget. I slept on the couch, but gradually things began to change. I stopped noticing the empty spaces she had left behind. Instead, I started imagining new possibilities. I rearranged the furniture, painted the walls, and reclaimed the house as my own. I wasn't just rebuilding a home, I was rebuilding myself. The cracks she left didn't vanish. The scars remained. But with time, they hurt less. In their place, I discovered something I hadn't felt in years: peace. As for Madison, I have no idea where life took her. Once the papers were signed, we ceased all contact. I heard whispers that she struggled to move on, that life had been unkind. People say time heals all wounds, but I disagree. Time doesn't erase the pain. It teaches you to live with it, to grow around it. For me, that meant learning to embrace solitude. I would rather live in quiet contentment than in a marriage tainted by betrayal. And as for Madison, I hope she found a way to live with her choices. Not for my sake, but for her own. In the end, we both lost something. I lost the woman I thought I knew, and she lost the life we had built together. But the difference is, I gained something far more valuable. I found myself. And that, above all, was worth every painful step. My friend, and this is the end of the story. If you liked this story, then put your royal like and subscribe to the channel. May the force be with you.